Tonight we're at a real air show.
Yes,
Just look
indeed.
at these planes. We've got everything here tonight. Everything from a Messerschmitt and a Spitfire to a chopper and a huge province of Newfoundland water bomber back here.
Look at that.
Isn't that something?
Yes, it is.
And all of these model planes belong to these chaps back here, and they're members of the St. John's Radio Control Flyers Club. And it's quite a hobby, and we're going to learn more about it later on in the weather. And with me is Lloyd Noel, who is the president of the St. John's Radio Control Flyers, which is the club. And Lloyd, you've got something in your hand here, and I guess this has something to do with actually controlling and flying these planes.
Yeah, that's right, Karl. This is a typical radio control transmitter, which is the link towards the airplane, which controls the plane in the air.
This looks really complicated. Is this something that's difficult to learn how to do?
Generally, with a trainer-type airplane, it will take a student about 4 months to learn how to fly proficiently.
Now, how are these planes powered?
It's only powered by a piston engine running on an alcohol-based fuel, and a typical fuel tank inside of one of these would be about 8 to 10 ounces and run the plane for about 15 to 20 minutes.
And they come in all shapes and sizes. We even have a helicopter here. Are these actually kits, or are they built from scratch, or what?
Well, we have a bit of everything here today. We have some that were what we call scratch-built. We have some that were built from kits, and we also have some that were actually designed and built from scratch by the owner.
And we've got float planes as well?
Float planes, yes. We have behind us we have a water bomber, which is quite a size, and we also have a Lockheed Sirius, which is a famous airplane flown by Charles Lindbergh, and which has been modeled by one of our members.
So essentially, they actually fly like the real thing.
They do all the same maneuvers that a full-size airplane is capable of.
Okay, now we've got some video, because I know people want to see these things in action, actually operating. So we're going to roll the video now, and perhaps you can tell us about it. This is a snowbird.
That one's easily recognizable by most people. It's a jet, and it's a snowbird. This is one end of the spectrum, as big as I've seen, about a 500-pound B-29. Here's an example of a helicopter in flight. Helicopters are much more difficult to fly, by the way. It'll take you quite a few more months to learn how to fly a helicopter. There's an example of a seaplane just lifting off. And here we have an aerobatic biplane going through a precision aerobatic routine, and virtually indistinguishable from the full size, as you can see.
We should point out to people that the reason we're not actually able to show some of these models with us here tonight in flight is because you have an airstrip, an actual airstrip that you use.
That's right. We have an airstrip just outside the city of Foxtrap, and we also fly at the Harbour Grace airstrip occasionally.
Now, I know I've got to ask the obvious question, because I know a lot of people are wondering, how much does one of these things cost?
Okay, well, there's quite a price range here today, Karl, but typically a trainer-type airplane will cost roughly $400 by the time it's in the air.
So if someone were wanting to get involved with the club, how do they go about doing that?
I think the best way would be to visit your local hobby shop, where we have some members' names listed as contacts. We also have a meeting the second Wednesday of every month at the Provincial Recreation Centre.
Great. Well, I think we probably sparked some interest in our viewers here tonight. It's really interesting. Thanks, and good flying. I feel like I should call you Commander Noel or something. Anyway.